The Islam and Khamzat story is getting more intense. After Chimaev replied to Makhachev saying this is just a sport and nothing personal, he showed he was open to the fight without crossing any lines. His words sparked even more debate in the MMA world. Then Islam's manager stepped in, shutting down the fight, saying the size difference is too big and it doesn't make sense. But the strange part is that just weeks earlier, the same manager said Islam could win the middleweight belt if he wanted. The Russian MMA scene is divided. Some believe Khamzat's size would be too much for Islam, while others think Islam's skills and stamina are enough for anyone. Vadim Nemkov, the former Bellator champion, even said Chimaev won't surprise Islam in grappling and it will come down to who can push harder and last longer. And while the drama continues, Ali Abdelaziz announced another shocker, confirmation of Islam versus Jack Della Maddalena for the undisputed welterweight title.
Hey, just speaking of Islam, are we any closer to getting an update on this fight happening in November? Like, from everything that you're working on right now, is that still the likely time frame for this JDM fight, Madison Square Garden?
Listen, at the end of the day, the fight is done, but like I always respectful to the promotion. It is their job. They didn't announce the fight. But I know this by end of the year, Australia gonna have no champions. I think Volk will remain the champion. I think Maddalena will lose. And I have a lot of respect for Maddalena. I think he's a very nice guy. I think he's a great fighter. I think, he's gonna be a very tough fight for Islam. But I believe Islam have all the tools to beat him. But in reality, it's a fight. It's a game of inches. Anything can happen.
Aljamain Sterling is asking for a title shot and making it clear why he deserves it more than Lerone Murphy, even after Murphy's big knockout win over newcomer Aaron Pico. Sterling is coming off a dominant win against Brian Ortega. While many fans see Murphy as the next opponent for Volkanovski because he's undefeated and scored that highlight KO, Sterling's case is strong. He just beat a proven top contender in Ortega, a fighter with title fight experience and years in the UFC. Sterling points out that Pico, who Murphy beat, hasn't achieved much in the UFC or Bellator. On top of that, Sterling has built an impressive record in the featherweight division, defeating names like Calvin Kattar and Ortega, and even had a close fight with Movsar Evloev, one of the toughest wrestlers in the division. He also mentioned a sparring session with Volkanovski, saying Volk gave him a tough time but even taught him some techniques afterwards.
I know some people were like trying to discredit the win, saying like you couldn't even finish a half-dead Brian Ortega, and I'm like, which one of these guys have finished a Brian Ortega? He's got one doctor stoppage in his entire career. Shooting, like feinting and touching the leg, he didn't react at all. He was just literally waiting for me to take the single so he could look for his guillotine. I didn't take the bait. I think it's fair for some of the fans to be on both sides of the fence with me getting the next shot at Volkanovski. And Lerone Murphy had a highlight reel KO over a guy with no name in the UFC and no name in Bellator in regards to accolades. If I didn't beat Brian Ortega the way that I did, I would say it should probably be him. But now that I've beaten a guy who twice fought for the belt, gave Volkanovski a world of trouble, this guy was ranked, he's credible, he's done the work. I beat a guy who's credible and done the work. Lerone Murphy beat a guy in a spectacular fashion, but he also beat someone that you're kind of like, well, who did he beat?
Khamzat Chimaev had an unexpected run-in with Leon Edwards at a gym in England, and he later talked about it on a Russian podcast with his friend Adam Zubera. According to Chimaev, he spotted Edwards by surprise during a normal training session with his teammates before starting camp for DDP. Chimaev went up to Edwards and asked him to spar, but Edwards not only refused, he walked away. Chimaev mentioned this casually on the podcast, saying what should have been a normal workout turned into a tense moment. The two were once booked to fight back when Chimaev was still at welterweight. He said Edwards looked nervous as soon as he saw him and avoided any interaction. This isn't the first time Chimaev's unpredictable actions have made headlines. Stories about him going too hard on influencers or losing his cool with other fighters have kept his name in the spotlight even when he's not fighting. Describing the moment, Chimaev said, "You can run into fighters like that anytime. I didn't even know this was a famous gym. When I saw Edwards, he looked nervous, like he was waiting for something. I just asked him to spar, and he said, 'No, I have to go,' and left. Maybe we'll fight in the future, but I don't care." Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan fired shots at Ilia Topuria after his knockout win over Charles Oliveira at UFC 317. Arman said Ilia tends to gas out when pressured and lacks top-level grappling. He claimed both he and Islam Makhachev could hold Ilia down easily. Arman even teased that he already knows how to break Ilia's striking style and expose weaknesses in his ground game. The rivalry has been building for a while, and with Ilia now holding the belt, the stakes are higher. Style-wise, it's an exciting matchup. Arman's wrestling and pressure against Ilia's knockout power and boxing. The UFC hasn't booked it yet, partly because of frustration with Arman after his failed main event with Islam, but another big win could put him right back in line. Here's what Arman said about Ilia: he's a very good boxer. Hits very hard, stays patient, waits for his moment, and has high fight IQ. His weakness is the clinch. He starts to gas out there. That's where I'll focus to take away his power. He hasn't fought strong wrestlers. Only Bryce Mitchell took him down, and even he isn't elite. Guys like Islam and me can control him easily. Tsarukyan is expected to face Dan Hooker by the end of the year, while Ilia Topuria is lined up against Justin Gaethje early next year. With these matchups coming, the lightweight division is shaping up for some huge fights.